Hey guys, time to get in on the action for the biggest moments in basketball with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections, place your entry, and win up to 100 times your money. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the Prize Picks app and use the code GET100. That's code GET100 on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy.
Today's episode is sponsored by CollectingCars.com. You want to check out some cool stuff, go to CollectingCars.com. Up for bids right now, the 74 Mazda RX-3 Coupe. Beautiful JDM connoisseur car. They also have live for bids 2005 Hummer H1 Alpha Duramax open top. Plenty of Porsches, plenty of memorabilia. You want a good time waster, go to CollectingCars.com right now and check it out. Plenty of things to bid on from around the world. If you want to sell your car, no fees. We love you, Collecting Cars. Chris Harris, Ed Lovett. Let's start the show.
And now, Hangar 56 Media presents Spike's Car Radio, a downloadable cars and coffee, hosted by writer, comedian, and automotive enthusiast Spike Ferriston. Now, here's Spike.
Taste the biscuit, taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce, taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce. Don't get your honey sauce on me, I don't like the way it tastes on my chicken wings.
Have you ever heard this, Zuckerman?
Oh, Ferriston.
Biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Have you tasted the goodness of the biscuit? I'm playing this song, Zuckerman, because the interior of your Jaguar
is biscuit.
It's biscuit.
And I want you to keep your honey off my biscuit.
This song is, listen to this.
I don't like it when it mixes with my mac and cheese.
This popped up on Twitter yet again. It's a song that goes viral. It's two older folks who are in a thrift shop singing that song, Taste the Biscuit. And the internet thinks that it is real, that it is really like the Marty and Elaine. Remember Marty and Elaine here in LA? The real Marty and Elaine style lounge singer singing a song. But this was part... I looked at it, I go, it's just too good. It's just too funny. It's too caught. The lyrics are too good. There's an old guy dancing with a sign in the background. This has to have been written. And it turns out it was true. It was from some guy, I don't know his name, made a little movie, and he would take this lounge singer couple and wrote them songs. That song, Taste the Biscuit, being about KFC, and put them in real situations. So he brought them to the thrift store. He shot them there as part of this larger film, which I don't know what it is. But they would sing their song and people would join in and dance around. He's not sure. There was a yellow sign. You can look this up and play it. I warn you and I caution you, though, if you watch it more than once, it will be in your head for 3 consecutive nights as you go to bed. Taste the biscuit, taste the biscuit. It will
taste on my chicken wings.
And you'll hear that lady's voice that you're hearing right now.
Check us out, Moose.
Oh, here.
Taste the biscuit.
There was a solo by Moose in the middle of it that it really is one of the most insane music solos I've ever heard. But I have nothing but admiration for these people that they were able to. It's so hard to write bad funny.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Usually it's just bad.
Usually it's just bad. Or unfunny.
Yeah.
I think this guy's the unsung genius of comedy who put this together, who I didn't bother to learn his name, and I apologize for that.
Speaking of Marty and Elaine, didn't Marty just die?
Yeah, he's dead.
Like real recent.
What was the name?
That's the Dresden Room, which is on Vermont in the Los Feliz section of Los Angeles.
You pronounced it right.
I don't say Los Feliz.
Yeah. No.
But the Dresden Room, it was an institution in L.A. where you could drink and eat, and Marty and Elaine did a floor show.
Well, if you watch that movie, Swingers, if you watch with Jon Favreau.
Yeah.
And?
The tall guy.
Vince Vaughn, correct.
Yeah.
That was, and probably the same time you came to L.A., Zuckerman, I came to L.A., that was our experience. That essentially is what you did when you moved to Hollywood. There's nothing really going on, and you went to all those places. Mm-hmm. In fact, I was invited to the party scene that night to be in that movie. It was a lot of Seinfeld writers were there, and I remember this new actress, Renee Zellweger, but it was like, it's a Wednesday. Why do I want to do that? Stupid move. I could have been in the movie.
Great film, by the way.
It would have been.
Film. Yeah.
It really is one of my favorite movies, and it was dumb of me not to go.
Did you ever see the weird sequel, even though it wasn't officially a sequel?
Swingers 2?
No, it was called like Maid or something like that, where they're like down on their luck, like they're boxers. It's good. Like it's a good movie. Yeah. Peter Falk's in it as like a mob boss.
Really?
Yeah. It's like a sequel that's not officially a sequel. It's good. It's good.
Well, welcome.
His one eyeball.
Yeah. P.
Now
Diddy's
he's
in
dead.
it. P. Diddy's in it.
He's not dead.
Yeah, he's not dead.
Everybody dies.
Everybody
That's
dies.
the one thing we know.
The one thing we know.
As the toilet flushes.
Weren't you just in a nursing home this weekend, speaking of things dying?
Speaking of dying, yes. I went to visit my mother. She's in what's called independent living, which is the first step of 3 at this facility. You have independent living, then you have assisted living, and then you have basically hospice nursing care.
But you said you had been tortured by nightmares that your mother was going to die.
Well, because everybody's mother around me is dying.
Right.
So,
And then I called you and told you my mom had been experiencing some tragedies in her life.
so I got on a plane.
This was the same day, right?
I got on a plane. I went to Philadelphia. Now, my mom is living in assisted living near my sisters who are in Cherry Hill. And I've been to this place, 5 times. And I always book a hotel, stay at the Westin in Mount Laurel, a horrible place that's barely been cleaned and certainly hasn't been.
Please, no free endorsements.
Yes. and they do have 400
People pay for that kind of advertising.
I can hear Marriott calling right now.
Yeah, 400-person Bollywood weddings happen there, but nothing's cleaned. From time to time, the same smudges are still there. But I get from the airport, I go straight to my mother's place. And my mother's elderly and a little infirm, and I stopped to have a little dinner with her, and then.
Can she talk to you? Does
Oh
she?
yeah, the mind is there. The mind is there. The body isn't.
I've never met your mom, but I'm imagining what we're looking at right now with a gray
My
wig
mother
on
is
his
a
head.
healed woman.
Do you have a picture of your mom?
I will find a picture. She was
Yet,
lovely.
a recording like.
I want to.
Mother's lovely.
maggot friend?
I wish she talked like that. I wish.
Oh, my little maggot! Come here! It's so nice to see you.
Maggot. It's so long.
It's my wretched son.
Well, then, so we're having dinner.
Wait a second. Does she talk at all like this?
No,
she doesn't.
I don't know where I got it because
She's a very sweet woman.
and very intelligent, very
So
articulate.
who are you more like?
My father.
Your father.
My father was a wild animal.
He was.
Any ambulances this week?
Yeah. So towards the end of dinner, my mother says, "I've got the key to your room." What are you talking about, Mom? She says, "I got your room here." And this is called Lionsgate. No one in this place is a lion. This is
But lots of
there's no lion in this
They
place.
should have called it Heaven's Gate.
Yes, and so what are you talking about? I said, she goes, "I got your room." I said, "Mom, you're going to try to take care of me? You can't take care of yourself. What are you doing?" And she says, "I've got you the guest quarters." And I said, "You want the truth or the lies?" And she says, "What are you saying?" I said, "I got a room. I've already paid for a room." She said, "Well, I paid for this. It's $100 a night." I said, "I'll give you." I took $200 out. I said, "Here's your money." And I said, "I'm not staying." She goes, "Why don't you want to stay?" I said, "You want the truth? I'm not ready to stay in a place like this. I can't stay here. I can't possibly stay here." I said, "I'm sorry."
Tell everybody what I texted you, Zuckerman.
Yeah, I said, "I know you don't want to be here, but I got a choice, and I'm not."
He texts me and tells me that. I go, "You're old enough to live there. Just stay.
I actually am.
You're a few years away.
Yeah.
Just stay there."
I made it. No, it's 55 and 0 for you. I could have checked in.
Yeah.
Did they have a TV in the room? I mean, what would you
I
have
didn't
done?
go and look at it.
Was it like, was the floor like a plastic floor? Did the place smell
I
like?
didn't go. The place is nice. The general environment is nice. I didn't go to the guest room. I told my mother, "If you want to have a sleepover, you go there. You can stay in there. I'm going to the West.
right.
Yeah, that's
I'll
right.
be back in the morning."
So
Don't
how does it work with these old folks? I'm not in that position yet. Like, do you have to pay for all this? Is this your sister?
It ain't free.
Yeah.
No,
so
it's
do you all?
free,
But do you
yeah.
get together and
Okay,
deal with
so
that, or is that mom's
so
responsibility?
Here's the first thing. They've got a lot of these places.
Yep.
they want to make sure that you have the economic means to pay, because when you go to move into one of these places, you pay down your assets. And if you pay down all your money to this place, then they got to keep you until the end of time. So before that, they make sure you have financial means. And then the way they keep the riffraff out of Lionsgate is that you got to buy the unit. And after the departure, you get 90% of the money back. But you got to put down like $400,000. And so I shared that with my sisters. Was, depending on who could pay what.
But doesn't it appreciate? If you get
these places don't appreciate. This is not like that other wonderful
Santa Monica.
There's a lot of demand.
Yeah, there's no. I think you could get a better return on funeral property. Cemetery real estate has the chance for a higher appreciation than these kind of places. My mother says this place is going to the dogs. They're letting in the people with the memory problems now. And they didn't used to let so many memory people in.
And they're not fun.
Well, the memory people, as she calls them, they try to get into your unit instead of their unit. And then my mother forgot to lock the door once, and the lady from next door came in, then realized she was in the wrong place and started bursting into tears. Now, my mother, who has trouble standing because she has Parkinson's, is alarmed at the lady with tears. And then my mother says, and I was frightened. I said, what were you frightened of? Well, she could attack me. I said, Mom, she doesn't know where she is. Why is she going to attack you?
Get out of my room, you demented maggot.
She said, baby, she'll get a broom.
I want to kill you.
She could really use some lessons from her son on how to deal with all of this stuff. That's what you should have done. Just said, I want to school you on how to deal with all this stuff.
Okay, my mother says,
I'm going to teach you some useful phrases.
She says,
5-finger maggot is the first one.
Short finger. Oh, wait. She said,
short finger, sorry.
She could get a broom. I said, the quickest way to defend against that is tell her where the broom is. She'll forget. She'll go somewhere else.
This is unbelievable.
Ouch.
We have to talk about cars at some point. But first, let's talk about Mint Mobile offers. Mint Mobile, our friend Ryan Reynolds. Did you know he owns his phone company? Ryan Reynolds, does he own everything?
I did know that. And he owns like a rugby team.
But he owns Mint Mobile. Woo! And we like him, and we like his product. Premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, and now for plot twist, nope, there isn't one. Seriously, Mint Mobile just has premium wireless for $15 a month. There's no trapping you into a 2-year contract. Open the bill, find all these crazy fees. That's not going to happen. There's no luring you into free subscriptions or streaming services that you'll forget or be charged full price for. No, there's none of that. For anyone who hates their phone bill, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. $15 a month. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan. Keep your same phone number along with your existing contacts. Switch to Mint Mobile. Get the premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. Get premium wireless by going to mintmobile.com/bike911. That's mintmobile.com/bike911. Seriously, you'll make your wallet very happy at mintmobile.com/bike911. Premium wireless for just $15 a month and no unexpected plot twists. All right. So much to get to. So much to do. So much to talk about.
We could do a whole show on Zuckerman's mother. That's a really funny idea.
Here's a big story.
What's happening?
What is that, Zuckerman? I left. This must be other music from that tiny wannabe Condiments. This is them. I don't know what that is. All right. You can leave that in, Will. That's just bizarre. But here's a big story, Zuckerman. Listen in on this one. Johnny, I will feed it to you.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Because it's big news.
Hold
on.
Breaking news.
And it's not, of course, working.
Breaking. Spike's Car Radio News. Oh, the update you've been waiting for.
One more. Hold on. Here we go.
This is going to blow your mind.
Okay, you short-fingered maggot. Make the machine.
It's my wretched son.
All right, hold up, guys. Hold up.
Criminal case against the only man licensed by DC Comics to build replica Batmobiles is ending. Mark Rakup faced felony charges of obtaining money by false pretenses and diversion of construction funds.
I am announcing we are going to dismiss the case.
I broke the news on Twitter.
Do you hear that, Zuckerman?
I heard it.
Dismissed. Listen to
after speaking with District Attorney Steve Wagstaff this.
Now listen to the DA, Steve Wagstaff. Listen to him.
Morning.
It is simply does not rise to the level of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. And when you have cases like that aren't rising to the criminal level, but who's right, who's wrong isn't clear. That's when people sue each other, and we refer those cases to civil court.
Sheriff Carlos Bolanos.
Okay. Duh. Right? You know what's missing from this story?
Okay.
Why did this happen to me?
What's missing from this story is that the local sheriff whose friend paid for the Batmobile.
Yes.
The guy paying for the Batmobile who had a commercial dispute, a disagreement.
Yes.
About making something in a different state. Where's the bat maker? He's in Illinois, Indiana. And the buyers in California, Northern California, goes to his friend, the local sheriff, and says, I want my Batmobile sooner. The sheriff went and filed felony charges, got a warrant from a judge, and him and his Yahoo sheriff friends flew to Indiana and arrested this guy.
We know the story.
And what I'm saying to you is that these charges never should have been filed. And first the DA took a rather hostile position and tried to say that this was a meritorious case. And now he's got egg on his face, and he's trying to sound reasonable. These guys are going to get sued. They're going to get flayed alive, this entity, this municipal entity.
You think so? Do you think Mark Rakup, who's been a guest, he was a guest a few weeks back, do you think he now has a suit, but do you think he's going to pursue it?
I hope he does. I mean, I'm not trying to solicit business, but if I had this case, I would annihilate this sheriff. I would annihilate this sheriff. You just can't, become a posse because your friend is not getting his fucking Batmobile.
What kind of money do you think this person, Mark, could make?
I don't want to speculate, but with enough money to make it worth my time. And I don't know how many Batmobiles we're talking about, but we got a garage full of Batmobiles out of this.
Figures.
I mean,
there it is.
They arrest this guy. They seize his property. They seize his bank accounts.
Yeah.
This is such a...
They caused him reputational harm.
They acted under what's known as... They acted under color of authority. They carried out a personal vendetta. Personal vendetta.
Posing as actual authority.
Yeah, posing as actual authorities. They went interstate. They arrested this guy and they dragged him. What did they do? They shackled him and took him back to California?
No, they didn't do that. But they did, put him in his driveway and go through his house, take documents, take computers.
Scum.
And that's theft at that point.
And how many sheriffs and deputies was this?
6, I thought.
I hope they were all fired. Didn't one of them have the good sense to say this?
Maybe it was
strikes
4.
us as wrong and a waste of taxpayer
resources. That's the crazy part, right? Don't you have to have like an AA and like criminal justice to be a cop, right? I mean, this is like 101 level stuff where obviously it's illegal for sheriffs to cross state lines to execute search warrants.
On this basis, okay, right? If and when Ferriston wins this bet about COVID, let's say I don't pay him. Imagine he goes down to Beverly Hills PD and says, Zuckerman's a welcher. He's not paying me my $2,000 he owes me. The police come. The police, someone we know at the police department says, you're my friend, Ferriston. Let's go get this scumbag Zuckerman, this maggot. Let's pull him out of his office and rifle his office. Come on, we all know that's ridiculous.
It's an abuse of power.
But that's in state. So that's like maybe, but like out of state is crazy for sheriffs.
Well, in any case, the Batmobile case is finally done. The DA has dropped the charges. We're happy for Mark Rakup. He had a GoFundMe or something.
I hope he gets a civil lawyer, and I hope he crucifies this sheriff.
I mentioned it to him. I think we talked about it in the show.
Call Zuckerman.
I'm not soliciting. I'm just saying he's got a meritorious case that should be in able hands.
Yeah, but I'm saying, imagine how much fun Spike and I would have if you got the case.
We got to make it happen.
We could make these guys sound so stupid. There's not one question that sheriff could answer right for me.
Our houses are going to get raided. I don't like to mess with the police.
Ooh, that's a good point. Well, where's these sheriffs are up in like...
Doesn't matter. They're going to come here. Yeah. We're much closer than Indiana.
Damn, you're right.
Take my tennis rackets or something. We're taking these. My recording equipment. We want to listen to that show. It's over.
I'll put my yarmulke on and go right up to that little podunk town. Fucking clean out their bank account.
Happy Yom Kippur, by the way.
Well, yes.
Yeah, we're happy.
Well, we say, may you have an easy fast.
That's right.
I'm not fasting. I got better things to do.
You mentioned this COVID thing, and I didn't want to get into it again, but here we are. We're about 60 days out, and I'm still winning here. We do. What's funny is there's a massive wave of COVID coming. This is me speaking now. There's a massive wave coming. You can see it, and nobody cares, but it's coming. So you do have a chance in these last 60 days of me getting swept over. The numbers are jumped up a little here, but if you look at New York right now and London, like,
it's coming.
Everybody
just in London. Maybe I'll get him sick.
This proclamation that it's over is such a funny thing because I believe, and maybe I'm wrong, that in the next 3 weeks the story will be we pretended that the pandemic was over, and now look at what's happening to us.
And
I get the sense that is happening.
I want to promise
second.
the listeners that if my dear friend Ferriston gets it, I will bring the recording equipment to get his last breath on a podcast. I will cry and laugh all at the same time.
You know, I've got the
Make sure he hands you the money with his dying, physical movement.
Look, if I die, I just had the new booster 2 weeks ago. I feel so strong right now, so strong. And I'll tell you something. I'll be honest with you, Zuckerman. While I'm not attending cocktail parties, I am not wearing a mask anywhere I go. I'm in the gym. I'm in the supermarket. I am out in the world, but I am avoiding big crowds still.
I hope there's a listener who has a particularly virulent form of COVID that can get some spittle or something like that into a vial and I can throw it on you.
Here's where we might get
Luft.
it. Luft next week. Let me just talk about that quickly. At around 11 a.m., the tentative plan, and you guys are just hearing about this right now. We're going to go on. Jeff Swart and Patrick Long said we have an elevated loading dock for you at the spot.
Finally.
It's right near some picnic tables. I said we'll need a little audio, which our producer will be there, which is rare for us. We're going to have him there. He's going to have a little audio. I asked him not to make it too loud, so we didn't bother the vibe at Luft, but just the people in front of us. I don't know that we'll have an audience to interact with, but we are going to do a show for about 45 minutes, somewhere around 11 a.m., somewhere near the main stage picnic tables. That's the best I can tell you with the limited information I have. So if you guys are at Luft and gals are at Luft, come down, come hang with us. You can be part of the show. Just like we did at Pebble Beach. Now, I want to have a couple of audience segments that aren't necessarily questions about should I or should I not buy a 996.
Right.
So I've written some. I know you've written some.
Yes.
And it'll have host and audience participation. We may try it. We may not. We may try it depending on the day and what it's like, or we may just chat. But it's going to be a Luft-centric show, and I'm excited about going. And you're right. We could get COVID there.
But back to COVID, I was just traveling.
Do we need to go back to COVID?
Well, just for a second in Luft.
Are you sure?
Where it's really spiking is Germany. So if there's any Germans coming over, like this could be the end of you.
I just believed we're all seeing nobody cares anymore.
Nobody cares.
And then there was this declaration by the president that said it's over. And then you start looking at the numbers and you see that it's not. And
it's like in Jaws when the mayor said there's no more shark, Yeah,
it's Bush. It's a funny thing. I'm really just curious how it sorts out. I love culture absorbing things and new norms, and it's funny to see something that was so terrifying at one point just become not scary, yet people are still dying somehow. You know what I'm saying? It's interesting. I'm interested in watching culture absorb this thing and seeing where it heads. But I think it's going to be a little bit of a wake up call this fall and this winter. I get the sense it is.
We shall see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
I just want to win the bet. That's all.
I want to win the bet. I'm equivocal on whether you should die, but the bet I want to win.
Yeah.
If COVID kills me after all of these shots, then we're all in trouble, Zuckerman. We're all in trouble. But I believe I'm going to be. I think I'm a super Dodger. I believe I have magic in me. And you still believe? Look at him. You still believe I don't?
Yeah, you got magic immunity. You're something special. This is he's got this little thing, Lieberman.
Yes.
He has to believe that there's something special about him. And in this case, in the year 2022, that special little magic that inhabits Ferriston is his master immunity. And I hope, for your sake, I hope the whole fucking world dies and you're the only one left on it, walking around by yourself. Not dog, no dog.
Imagine the cars I could drive.
You think it's like a form of like solipsism where he's just like the specialist?
Yeah, he just,
Like-
it's just like he always decries magical thinking. This is his form of magical thinking. He'll say, no, it's
Zuckerman,
not.
you can put me down.
No.
Yes. What is your theory that I haven't had it?
It's just called statistics, Ferris, then. Statistics. Not everyone has got it. Plenty of people who are going to get it don't have it yet.
Statistics?
Yeah, it's just a matter of statistical demographics.
That's not an answer.
It is an answer.
Why haven't I got it?
Has everyone gotten it?
No.
So are all those people special like you?
Yes.
Oh, I think it's just a matter of time and statistics.
I think one theory. Here's my main theory. Vaccines work, and it's working for me. And as I continue to get them, it protects me. That's my first theory.
Okay, that's a good. That's a better theory than what's coming next.
Second theory is in the past, I had something similar to it, so I have some sort of T-cell immunity.
So he had like COVID-11.
No. I had a coronavirus.
No, that's
I
what
was
I'm
pretty
saying.
sick in New York when I lived in New York one year, and they said it was a flu. I never got tested, but I was like almost died. And
Yeah,
I
no, that's
think
what I'm
that
saying.
could have been the thing. Theory number 3 of mine, I had it and somehow missed it and was asymptomatic, and now I'm walking around. Yet
That's it. I like that theory better.
When I go to my doctor, our doctor, we have the same doctor again, he said, you don't have those antibodies. You have not had this. He has said twice.
I hope you get the fucking hantavirus, Ebola, Marburg, some hemorrhagic fever.
Can I
that
tell you
as you're
something about
talking, you
hantavirus?
just
Let me tell you
liquefy
something
the
about
blood.
hantavirus.
Let me tell you about the antivirus. Let me tell you about the antivirus.
I was warned not to clean all the rat shit out of the attic of my house, right? Because I'd get hantavirus. And I go up there all the time. We vacuumed it out, the whole thing.
You're not in Africa.
Here I
You're in
am.
Brentwood. The fuck.
The hantavirus is here. The hantavirus is from rat feces.
Oh, yeah.
And you're
And-
not supposed to interrupt or disturb.
Just eat them whole. And
like a little
swallow
M&Ms.
them whole.
Wow.
But don't get any dust in the air.
Well, we got the feces, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, we got the feces.
It's been
All right.
35 minutes about feces.
We should talk about cars. We got to Batmobile.
Cars. Yeah, that's a car. sort of.
Shitmobiles. Let's talk about that.
There's so much going on. Oh, God. There's too much.
Too much. I drove some stuff.
Yeah. Let's go to you, Johnny. Why don't you tell us? You've been on the road traveling.
Yes.
You said
I was
I
in Spain.
visited Lotus. I drove the RS4, RS5 competition cars. I was at
Yes.
Lotus headquarters.
Yes.
Where do you want to start?
Let's start with the Audis. This is another car that might interest Zuckerman. So the RS5, cool car. We all like the RS5, but they made the competition.
Which is what? A street car? Or
It's a street car. It's just like dynamically improved. They wanted to make like a more exciting car. So it's 10 millimeters lower. You can drop it another 10 millimeters if you want to. Fully adjustable dampers like the BMW M3 GTS, where it's like you can individually adjust the compression and rebound, like mini clicks on the dampers. The rear end is improved. The brakes are better. There's ceramics are standard, different rear end. And, they didn't increase power, and we sort of bugged them, like, why not add like 15 horsepower? But they just said, like, in the final analysis, the money needed to do that wouldn't have been worth it for the amount of power they could get out of it. But it's just a sharper car, and it really, the big improvement is the, suspension. It's just like, it's got a really good kind of like sports car feel to it. It understeers less than a regular RS5. I also drove the wagon, the RS4, and I'll break a little news right now. We were screaming at them like, why don't you bring the RS4 to the States? Bring the RS4 to the States. The RS6 was a big success. And this woman who I think maybe shouldn't have said this said, yeah, that's next. So nothing official, but I think in a year or two.
Where were you doing this?
We were at the Ascari racetrack in southern Spain near Malaga. And so it's a private track. And what was funny was there was supposed to be American PR. Normally we don't really talk to the German PR people. But the guy who was going to come got like a bowel impaction or some poor thing. And he wound up in the hospital.
A what?
A bowel impaction, I believe.
There's our second feces.
Well, that's contained feces,
I know you love feeling like that, Lieberman.
Who said, did he just...
And
He couldn't just say, I'm not feeling well. They had to tell you what he had?
He just said, no, he was American. He just said he wasn't feeling well. Another employee said it was a bowel impaction.
German employee or an American?
No comment on that. But anyways, yeah, so there was no American PR, so we were stuck
What
with
is
the
a
German.
bowel impact? What is that?
It's just where your
It's like,
bowels...
horses die from it. Your intestines get twisted up, and you can't pass your feces. And then if you hold on to them long enough, it explodes.
Look at the joy in his eyes. That's why I asked him. Rico, oh, he gets to talk about it.
Exploding PCs.
Hello, son. Are you coming to visit me? No. You maggot. Does your mom listen to the show, Zuckerman?
Thank God. No.
My mom listens to the show. My mom listens
We'll
to
never
the show.
talk to you about you like we're talking about my mother. Don't call her. Don't say anything. Don't call up Marilyn.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So anyways,
now I want to talk to her.
Very cool cars. And then, I went to Hethel, a very strange part of England, to the Lotus factory. And I drove
What was
the
that
new...
like?
Hethel?
Yeah, no, the Lotus factory.
Oh, the Lotus they just got £100 million or euro investment from Geely,
Right.
The Chinese company that owns them, and it's a lot different than it used to be. It's very modern. It feels like a mix of like McLaren and Bentley and Ferrari. Like the cars are on these autonomous robots that move them from station to station. Very modern, lots of quality control. The car, I drove the Emira, and huge step up just in terms of like quality feeling of the interior. Like it doesn't feel hollow. It doesn't feel, like yeah, man, they're great to drive.
sat in it. I know. It's great.
Yeah.
They couldn't fix what was wrong with the previous car, so they said, we'll make a new one and we'll give it a little room. So you had a cockpit that
Well,
worked.
yeah, that's a huge thing. So they took out the stupid fake rear seat, and now it's just a two-seater. But as a result, if you're 6'6", you're going to fit in this thing. There's just like way more room on the seat. But just the quality of the interior is way up. I drove it on their track. It drives fantastic.
Their track, like in the backyard, behind the factory.
Their track is awesome.
And what is that? An oval, or does it have turns?
No. It's a proper road course. It's probably like 11, maybe 10 turns.
Wow.
Super high speed in parts. Great second gear corners in other parts. I was told by some of my British friends are like, make sure you get on the track. It's fantastic. And make sure this guy, Gavin, who you met, Gavin gives you a lap because he can make the car do things that they can't do. And it was awesome. But then
is it like Disney World, but it's Lotus World? Do they have like Lotus dogs in the cafeteria?
No.
Some Avija with sour creams?
Yeah, no. But the other crazy part
what do they have? I'm asking you a question. Like,
okay,
is it all just factory floor and building, or is some of it like touristy?
It's not touristy except for the classic part, which is actually a separate company. They have like it's actually Clive, the son of Colin Chapman. He works there and he owns it. And so he was there. I saw him. And then they have upstairs like all the coolest F1 cars ever, including arguably the greatest F1 car, the Type 49, which won Monaco 2 years in a row. It's the only F1 car to ever win Monaco. The same car won 2 years in a row. That just never happened. So it was there. All the Emerson Fittipaldi stuff. That Senna's first win car was there. Like that's incredible, and that's very public. But the Lotus factory is not.
There's no tourist.
There might be a way to arrange a tour. Right. I don't know, but I got to see.
But Porsche is kind of ahead of all of that, right? They have the experience centers, and that's where they kind of interface. They have the Porsche Museum, which I'm guessing you can just go to.
Yeah, Porsche Museum in Zuffenhausen is very cool. It's kind of small, but it's pretty cool.
But what a pretty neat, I mean, that's an amazing opportunity for Lotus to open that up to the public and have a racetrack behind it.
Well, yeah, I don't think that part's not for the public. That's a test track. But what was amazing.
But I mean, that's what they should do.
Oh,
yes.
Well,
don't you think?
Here's the thing.
It's good for the brand.
Yeah, it's great.
You want to get people into the brand with a small brand.
Yeah.
If we've learned anything from these experience centers, that's the deal.
Yes. The problem is getting people out to Hethel, which is like
Hethel.
Hethel.
Is that like Ethel's?
It's like Ethel, but Hethel. It's in Norfolk, so it's like you know. Boy, I shouldn't say this, but it's it's not the most touristed part. As my cousin said, if you go to Hethel, you'll meet people that say, "London. I went to London once, didn't like it." You know, that kind of part of the world. But what I saw, which was so cool, they're making that $2.2 million 2,000 horsepower electric Lotus. And like I thought it was never going to happen, and I saw the first production one, the Avira, I think it's called, and just phenomenally cool. And I saw the PR guy showed me, who's a big fan of us, by the way, but he showed me some videos on his phone of like when the front motors are turned off, so it's 1,000 horsepower rear drive, just doing like crazy donuts and burnouts.
Wow.
Front wheel, and you can turn off the rears if you want, or at least they did with a computer, doing front wheel burnouts with 1,000 horsepower. It's insane looking.
Why do they name all their cars like Inuja?
Angina.
Angina.
Here's the problem.
Ikuja.
Stop doing that. You got to spree a lawn and,
But why do they do it?
It's all, it's like everything starts with an E.
Why?
I don't know.
Why?
Because Colin Chapman did it and
Emesis.
Changes.
Another word for vomit.
Why?
Yeah. Anyways,
Lotus emesis.
Lotus is looking pretty cool.
So tell me, this latest car.
Yeah. If
we were going to give it a year rating, does it rate as a 2022, a modern? Because sometimes these Lotuses get a little longer toothed. You could be in a 2020, but you're really driving 2010.
No, this is for sure 2023. This is like modern touchscreen, modern car. It is still the same powertrain, the V6 with a manual, and there is a pretty crap automatic you could get. But there's also going to be a much lighter AMG powered 4-cylinder. Remember, this is the same 4-cylinder that in the new C63, it's a 2-liter that makes 470 horsepower.
Wow.
And they're saying they're not sure if they're going to do it, but they know how to make more power than that out of it. And the rear subframe with the 4-cylinder will switch from steel to aluminum. So not only will it be lighter,
a lot of weight.
Yeah, it'll be double lighter, and then it'll have a dual clutch. So if you want to really
So it's a no excuses proper car.
Yeah, and if you want a manual with a supercharged V6, they still will sell you that. So I was impressed, and it really did drive wonderfully, and it had like fantastic brakes, neutral handling, like just a really proper sports car. So that was pretty cool.
Awesome. Fall's in full swing. Getting weeknight dinners right is easier than ever with Every Plate, America's best value meal kit. When your days get jam-packed, Every Plate will help you get delicious meals on the table without breaking the bank. If you think meal kits are too expensive, think again. Every Plate is different. They're 25% cheaper than grocery shopping. With food prices at the grocery store going up, I can count on Every Plate to be a great value week after week. Everyone's always looking forward to those cozy fall flavors. With Every Plate, it's delivered. Seasonal favorites like white bean tomato stew with feta and garlic toast, turkey shepherd's pie topped with garlic mashed potatoes. Change things up as often as you want. Choose between 21 recipes that change every week. Swap protein, sides to your liking. Different than those other meal kits. You're going to love them. Everything's included in the box. As you know, my wife, Erica, loves the Every Plate experience. Johnny, I believe, is loving the Every Plate experience.
Yum.
We can't wait. We get free boxes, and we're requesting them more and more Every Plate. And they're saying, just buy them. And we did. So I'm a customer too. Get your first box for just $1.49 per meal by going to everyplate.com and entering code SPIKE149. That's everyplate.com for just $1.49 per meal on your first box. Everyplate.com and enter code SPIKE149. That's up to $110 value. Look at that. I was down over the weekend playing tennis. Every day I play tennis, so it's blurring together. This is about to become Spike's Tennis Radio, which
can't wait.
I apologize.
That's fun.
The kids were like, why aren't you driving cars anymore? I was like, I'm going to get my tennis rackets.
Working on my backhand.
Really is. Like yesterday, I took 3 rackets down to the restringer and just said, let's do new grips. Because why? We just did them last week. And I don't want to try something white here. I want to try my whole car thing.
See?
I'm now modifying tennis rackets.
Forget about the Series 2. I got a modern Defender. I need new rackets.
That's right.
Yeah.
The Series 2A. I forgot until you mentioned it that it was even in there.
Yeah. Who cares?
My restringer, Alex, is doing such a great job. Anyway, I played tennis for a while, and then I said, you know what? I got to drop. I had Zuckerman's 991 Speedster, which he graciously shared, and then I kept longer than I should because I love it. It's
Zuckerman,
the greatest.
I'm going to take that next. Thanks.
It's the greatest car in the world.
It's the greatest car.
And I dropped that in his hangar, and I wanted to drive the Zagato, so I took a little ride-share scooter over to my hangar from Zuckerman's and go into the airport. And as I'm going past my offices and take a right, there's an open hangar there, and I look, and there's the new Volkswagen ID4.
Oh, I was trying to figure out, okay, I saw those pictures.
Next to it, a Yellowbird, roof Yellowbird.
Yeah.
Next to that, a 914.6 GT that I recognize
beautiful
from
car.
Racing,
yeah,
and some other cars. And then Ferdy Porsche is standing there. And then the head of the Porsche family, who's the guy, Wolfgang.
Yeah.
And Bruce Meyer, and I guess the Peterson Gala was the last night, and they had some rally, and all of these beautiful cars were sitting right next to my hangar. And they had they had just wrapped up a dinner, and Philip Serafin was there, who's got the Myers-Manx brand, and he goes, and he came over, and it's like, Spike, he goes, look, turn around, and then his big plane was taking off right behind us, the one that Leno hung out of.
Right.
And I was so happy. He goes, what are you doing? I go, I finished tennis, and now I'm in heaven with you guys. This is great.
So how's the Volkswagen bus look in person?
Well, first I said to Bruce, I said, is that even out yet? And they were like, I don't think so.
It's out in Europe, but it's still a year out.
I go, who's driving it? They go, the Porsche family. This is what they have there.
Right.
Go, wow, it pays to be the Porsche family. I only saw it from the exterior and then looked inside. It looked really cool. I popped it onto Instagram, and a lot of folks were excited about it and responded to it.
I couldn't figure out, because I know Leno and that comedian Fluffy Gonzalez drove it, and
right,
because he's got
he's got it,
and he loved it, but he's not exactly like
Well, he's a VW collector. That's why.
Yeah, huge one. So,
right.
I think even if it sucked, he'd be excited about it. Not to disparage him, but
it was just why I love Santa Monica Airport. I just love that place.
So whose hangar was it?
Some guy.
Oh, just some guy.
There used to be a little plane company right there, and now some guy's kind of renting it as office space. It's such it's a weird situation down there because they're trying to close it. They give everybody month-to-month leases, which I think I've been on now for 5 years.
right.
And they say they want to
close it one day. You'll just wait.
They say they're going to close it in 5-6 years.
Yeah.
But again, I've seen this over and over again in the world. Whenever you're making plans past 2 or 3 years, the world changes and things don't go the way you want. So I think to me, it's 50-50. They're going to close that place. It's a wonderful place, and it's got a lot of small businesses.
And they would just tear it down and build condos. And
they
crap
say
like that.
They're not going to.
Oh.
But they say they're going to add parks. There are 5 parks down there already. I can tell you, as someone has office space down there, the developers are circling that place nonstop with their plans for their park.
Yeah.
Somehow these parks look like giant skyscrapers and malls.
Right. Why would they waste 35 acres on parks?
Well, they're playing a long game, and they have lots of money, and the plan, as I understand it, is to just bulldoze this historic airport and this lifeline in case there's an emergency.
First airport in LA.
Here.
Yeah.
But also just a lifeline when there's an earthquake or a fire, and we need somewhere between Van Nuys and LAX to get in supplies. And not to mention the 150 small businesses down there, and the flying schools, and the people who enjoy recreational aircraft. But the plan is to bulldoze the whole thing and put up buildings.
And as things will evolve,
the West Side's already plugged.
The park will get smaller and smaller and smaller, and eventually it'll just be a plaque.
Yeah, it's like the one. It's like the one in Orange County at El Toro, the old Marine base, where it was like it was going to be the great park of Orange County, and now it's like condos.
Clover Park is right on the northwest side, right? It's a giant, beautiful park. We play tennis there. We play baseball there. I used to go there with the kids.
We got a park.
There's a giant park there. There's a giant soccer field on the other side. Then there's another park. Then there's a space for a drive-in movie. Then there's the flea market space.
Right.
Then there's empty lot. It's used. There's a theater down there. There's all sorts of great things, and it's... And trust me, Santa Monica is clogged already. You can't get in and out of Santa Monica, Brentwood, or the Palisades in rush hour. Putting more people there is going to be a bad idea.
Put them in Rialto.
I don't want to be negative. What's that?
Put them in Rialto.
Why Rialto?
Indio.
Riverside. We have enough people here.
I got a couple more things to talk about, but let me just quickly hit Bob's watches, our favorite. And I'll do it fast. I love Bob's watches. I love Bob's watches. I was just wearing one of their most beautiful watches, that ghost bezel watch with the kissing 40. By the way, I'm little, they said, what do you want next? I went on the site. I go, I don't know how to follow that up.
There's no topping it,
I got stage fright.
Yeah.
I was on it like this morning going, I should get something. And I couldn't figure it out because that watch was so great. I almost said to them, can you send it back? Can I do that?
Yeah, and they're like, that's called buying it. Could you just buy it already?
They love it when I do that. Bob's Watches is the most trusted destination to buy or sell 100% authentic luxury pre-owned watches. Shop vintage and contemporary watches from Rolex, Tudor, Omega, Breitling, Cartier, Patek, and more. Explore thousands of models available now at bobswatches.com. Overnight delivery and free shipping included. You buy a watch from them, they'll buy it back. You can trade. I have so much fun with them. And tonight, I'm going to dedicate some cigar time to that new watch.
Bob, if you're listening, I want the watches.
I don't think there's a Bob.
Bob.
Yeah, also Bob, if you're listening.
I think there's a Paul.
Okay, Paul, I want the watches. Why does Harrison get the watches? Yeah. I could use a watch.
I'd like them too.
Yes, we all.
There's, it's like press cars. It's be careful because you won't wear your own stuff. There becomes a moment where you're getting, and it's really, and no one can sympathize with this. So I don't even know why I'm even.
Yeah, don't bring it up. Don't bring it up.
He's trying to make excuses why I shouldn't get one. Yeah, and you can continue on the gravy train, and I get nothing.
You don't. I notice you don't switch watches a lot.
I don't.
You have a Daytona like this. You have the black dial Daytona.
But he wears that.
I gave it to a young partner of mine.
You gave away your Daytona. Wow.
You know what?
And
I've given away
deep
2
sea.
watches.
Oh, you're talking over each other. What?
I gave away 2 watches.
The
I gave
deep
away
sea.
my Deep Sea Dweller.
You did.
I gave away my Daytona. I think
Wow.
it's important that when there are people in my firm that do exceptional
You
service.
reward them. Yeah. What do you wear? What are you wearing? What do you like?
His sub.
Dumbbell. I'm wearing a Submariner. Don't you have eyes? I'm wearing
No,
the
but
new
that's the new one.
Submariner.
So tell
It's the
me.
new one.
So tell
And
me what your favorite things to wear are. Like, what are you wearing and not wearing?
What happens is I get in the habit of wearing one watch.
Right.
And I really like the way this modern sub looks. I will eventually take it off, and I will wear my 5512 Submariner. And then I'll comment how light it is and how small it is, and then after a day I will love it again. And then I'll put this watch on, and I'll say, oh, it's so heavy. Why is this watch so heavy and so
So you
big?
go back and forth between those two Submariners. Do you vibe with the Submariner brand?
I'm vibing with it. I could vibe with the Daytona, too.
What else do you have lurking around? Do you still have that Hodinky Hoyer 02?
Yeah, and I've got a gold Datejust.
A gold Datejust.
I got some other stuff in the safe.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you don't ever wear the gold. It's hard.
It's hard to wear gold. I like seeing it on other people. I put it on myself. It doesn't feel right. But I like anyone else wearing it. I think it's fantastic. I put it on. I don't like it.
I just got to point out that he didn't give his deep sea to me.
Shut up. What did you do for me?
Yeah,
Nothing.
why?
Nothing.
Yeah, what did you do for me?
I just want the deep.
He gave you sponsorship for your race.
Yeah, that's
Something
true.
even more meaningful.
I talk to
I
you.
would rather have the deep sea.
I talk to you.
He gives you partial friendship.
Yeah.
That's what he gives you.
He calls me horrible names we can't say on the air.
I haven't talked about Bills for a long time,
Oh yeah.
which is really fun. You know, we stopped going there because we were making this movie for months and months and months. And I went there last week. The car show has evaporated. People stopped showing up.
You went on a Sunday.
I went on the Sunday around 11 o'clock. I don't know what's happening in the morning, but I remember the last beat of the story was they were starting a valet.
Valet, yeah.
They keep Bills closed to 11 for some reason. Leno, Jerry, I think Maddie's there every once in a while, but we stopped showing up.
Right.
And that meant we stopped promoting it, I guess, on Instagram. And it seems to have quieted down quite nicely.
Okay.
People are upset about it, but it always used to be this quiet little thing that we were doing. And,
your big yap.
Well, it was also the pandemic. Don't forget the pandemic had a lot to do with it. There was nothing to do.
Right, but now it's kind of nice again. Now, at 11 o'clock, I sat out there. It was nice and quiet. We drove cars. And
What's interesting is I have a bunch of friends coming into town for Luft, and they're like, they don't know what time Luft is, but they're like, hey, can I still go to the Malibu car show? And I'm like, there is no Malibu car. They're like, what? And
there never was.
It never was.
Well, yeah, they're never, well said. They're shocked. They're just like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's a valet thing for Lululemon now.
I don't think you'd want to do that. Luft is sometimes hard to get into. Where is it, in San Pedro this year?
Yeah, but also it's like you have to go pick up tickets on Friday. Have you?
Oh, really?
There's a whole
Well,
thing.
my ticket, I'm going to, but I don't know about your ticket. But yeah, I have like a
You don't
media.
need
We
to
don't
pick it
need
up.
tickets.
I do media pass. You have to go pick up in advance.
But why do you need it? You're coming in with us.
I mean, I could text Pat and add to the misery, or I can go.
No,
down there and just
I'm
grab it.
arranging for the host to be able to get in a special entrance, so we don't have to. We can't have what happened with Pebble Beach happen here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me know. I was going to go down with some friends on Friday that have to pick up their tickets.
Okay,
So
it's up to you.
Yeah.
I just want to make it easy. There's some. You got to talk into the microphone.
See, yeah, you got to talk in the mic.
You can't talk.
You got
into
to
your
give me
phone.
the deep sea, you bastard.
Just a couple little remnant things. This awful hurricane that destroyed Florida, the biggest star of that disaster was a McLaren P1.
On a toilet.
That was submerged. That started in a garage. It was owned by a guy named Eddie, who posted on the day he got it 1 week before the hurricane. He posted on Instagram, only 300 miles on it. Time to add to it! ! Implying that he had recently bought the lightly used yellow P1.
Apparently he's a very cool guy as well.
Volcano yellow with 300 miles on it. He said on the 27th, he posted right before the hurricane. One last picture on the 27th. My hurricane supply car, the P1. So he did my and yours grocery store run in the P1, which I admire, which I like. Took the P1 to get some groceries.
Got a big frunk. Got to use it. Yeah.
And then went upstairs. Decided not to leave and not to take his rolls out of the garage or the P1. And here's where I'm a little lost on the story. His first shot that he posted was the P1 and the rolls floating in the garage. they were like that. And then somehow, during the course of the hurricane in the day, they got out of the garage and ended up on a toilet.
Well, that was the where the water went away. It was literally on a toilet, which is, you couldn't plan that better. But I'll tell you how it got out of the garage.
How did it get out of the garage?
If a Rolls Royce weighs 6,000 pounds.
What's that?
A Rolls Royce weighs 6,000 pounds.
Yeah.
The McLaren weighs 3,000 pounds, and together 9,000 pounds easily took out a garage door.
It did.
Oh, yeah.
It took out the door.
Yeah, because there was no power.
So all the water.
Yeah. We want to go swimming.
You really think so?
How else?
How was the water getting in?
A flood. A garage is
I know, but
sealed.
let's look at this is Zuckerman's garage door. It's coming in underneath. I know it's floating, but there's not any real wind in the garage.
Maybe the wind knocked the door. Maybe the waves
or
knocked the door.
current.
I think Zuckerman might have
So the waves knocked the door, then they went
No, I think the wind may have knocked the door down.
Well, I think it would be choppy current water that's being driven by a hurricane. And then
Eddie, somebody ask Eddie how this happened.
I can get in touch with him.
Roll said to the McLaren, "My dear fellow, shall we go for a swim in the Thames?"
And then, of course, the car community was very upset that he let the P1, which is so ridiculous when human life is being lost.
I was going to post about it, and I just felt so like, so many
what are you
going to
post?
I'm not on the bandwagon about this poor fool.
The picture of the P1 on a broken toilet.
It was funny.
Probably Zuckerman's getting turned into a poster.
You don't need to elaborate on it. It's saying everything it needs to say.
Yeah.
He said after the hurricane, he posted on his Instagram, "You can't control Mother Nature."
There you go.
Well, never heard that, Eddie.
Eddie, you can control flatbeds before hurricanes.
Flatbeds and flatulence, Eddie.
He could have.
Yeah.
Eddie chose to hang out. He could have hopped in that P1 and got the hell out of there.
Eddie's got a great story, though.
Would you have? Which car would you have saved? Obviously,
P1.
The P1, right? But you can't put your luggage in it.
Well, which Rolls Royce and how many people do you have to take out?
Yeah, you probably get a lot of stuff. I might have sacrificed the P1 to take some pictures and things.
You're getting away faster in the P1.
Yeah, but if you're leaving a few days early, there's no rush.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, if you have two people, you could save both.
Yeah,
but
this is a good evacuation question. Which do you save? It's just you. You've got things in your house that you want, and you've got those two cars. What do you do, Johnny?
I think
you can only take one.
You got to take the McLaren. You got to take the McLaren. Yeah,
you just tie shit to the roof.
I just don't. Like I've talked to people in Florida, and I'm like, you stay, and they're like, yeah, you never flee, you always stay.
Yeah, we got rocks in our head. We're gonna stay.
Look.
It's not going to be a problem until we're drowning.
This is the very real side effect of disinformation and misinformation in news and in politics. That people just go, if this station says it, I'm not going to believe it.
Only wussies sleep.
But I even know people that like in Key West, for instance, they're like, nah, you never evacuate, you always stay. Our buildings are reinforced. They're designed for this, and they're not wacky Trump people or anything. They're just like, we just stay. That's what we do. Like a cultural thing, and they have
a stupid decision. I grew up in a hurricane plain, Massachusetts. We always took those things seriously. If someone's saying evacuate, evacuate. My last evacuation was here in Brentwood, which, by the way, I didn't evacuate, but I evacuated my family.
He evacuated his bowels.
Their fire was coming up the street, and they said, "Get out!" I had seen cars coming up the street with horns and lights.
But
my
but
phone.
you stayed.
Stop talking. My phone.
You stopped talking. You stayed.
You're talking over me. The phone was sending messages, and you go, I have to take an action here. Right? Even though I don't want to, and even though 9 times out of 10 I've been in these things, nothing happens.
Right.
You have to kind of err on the side, even though I didn't evacuate. I got my family out.
But why didn't you evacuate since you're making fun of the rocks in their head?
Because he's got the same thing.
Because I didn't have a P1 in the garage.
If you would have had a P1,
I had Zuckerman Speedster in there. I didn't care if it burned. No,
Burn, baby, burn.
it's insured.
There was something going on that I was following. I sent the wife and the kids to my office in Santa Monica, and I said, I'll be down in a couple hours. There was something about the dog. I can't remember, but I had some reason to stay. And then, within an hour, as I was going to leave, the fire changed direction really quickly. It just went right away. It just went.
So it wasn't a sure thing. Yeah.
No, it wasn't a sure thing. But
this storm was Category 5 essentially. I mean, as bad as a storm could ever get.
Yeah.
And and sadly, it looks like a lot of people fucking died.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But in Massachusetts, we were the same way. You're like, once you survive one hurricane, and news tends to catastrophize, and then suddenly things don't materialize. You go, well, this won't materialize either. But you are rolling the dice.
And you saw there was plenty of those where it's like the newscaster looks like Armageddon's happening, and there's like a dude in the background with like a bag of groceries, like slowly walking. You see any of those?
Well, Florida was, there was a bar that stayed open. There's a guy on a jet ski doing his thing. I remember when I was in college and Hurricane Gloria, I think, came through. We went right into Kenmore Square and were doing hurricane things, and half of us got arrested. And it was, but it was a state of emergency. Stay off the streets.
Yeah.
And when we heard that, but I was 18 or 19. I was a young idiot.
Young rocks in your young head. Yeah.
Young rocks in my young head. Yeah.
I knew you when you were young. I knew you when you were dumb. And now that you are old and gray,
is when
you still
see, this is the talking over.
He's singing.
Now this is the talking over no one likes.
I'll sing it. It was your
some
birthday.
People like Guzik doesn't like it. Some people
No, a lot of people really don't. They really don't like when we talk over each other.
Well,
It's just one at a time, that's all. Not that I wanted to hear Zuckerman's stupid song one more time.
Everyone loved that song.
Everyone.
Everyone hates.
I
everyone
got 6 DMs.
You should have seen it.
Everyone's loves it.
It was it.
Everyone's freaking out. Yeah, I saw it trending on Twitter, Zuckerman. It was huge. It was massive. Do we have time to talk about this Hyundai story quickly?
Yeah.
It's a Zuckerman story.
Let me just give the background because no one knows what we're talking about. California cop tickets stock Hyundai Elantra for exhaust noise. Elantra N, right, sorry. After police suspended the car's registration for excessive noise, the owner hasn't been able to get the car back on the road. Where did this happen?
Northern
California.
Oh, yeah, Northern California. So this is a stock factory Hyundai.
Yes, the N. Yeah.
And the N stands for what?
It's their M. It's their performance subdivision.
Okay, so it's got a loud... Have you driven this car?
I have driven this car.
And is it like what? Comparable to the Jaguar F-Type in noise?
No.
Not even that loud.
Noise, you mean? I don't... It does get noisy. I think the Jags are 1,000 times noisier.
The officer in question pulled over the owner, who had been driving his Elantra N in N mode, and claimed the owner would have to pay thousands of dollars to have the stock track mode removed. So
dance.
Before the Elantra could be re-registered.
Is this one of the Batmobile sheriffs, by the way? Could be the same team.
To attempt to get the car back on the road, the owner took it to the California state referee. Wait, who's this? Is he wearing striped shirts and little shorts?
Foul. And he has cards. He throws flags.
For noise inspection, the referee insisted on performing the noise test in loud but stock sport mode, and the Elantra failed. So I would imagine they're measuring decibel levels, right?
Yes.
Or he's blowing his whistle and just making a call off the cuff. So this is a stock car. This is an interesting problem because I've always, said that the Jaguar F-Type, it has to not be legal. The amount.
Well, here's. I'll just give you the automaker's response would be that all you got to do is take it out of sport mode and it's quiet.
Right.
So that's ridiculous that the referee would make them do it in the obviously loud mode. Just say do it in the quiet mode and the car doesn't need any changes.
So all of this overzealous policing and poor bureaucracy this is the writing of The Drive, has left the owner making payments on a brand new car they can't drive. Zuckerman, you're the only lawyer in the house here.
Again,
what do you do? What do you do? This is you. What would you do?
Okay, the statute that...
Hey, the statute.
The statute that
Take your statute, shove it up your ass.
Shove your hatchet.
the code okay, let me say code, a shorter word you can understand. The code dictates that the referee...
I said shorter?
Yeah.
Shorter
words you can understand. So the code says that it should be tested
Right.
in any mode that has the on-off cycle, which would be normal mode. So they mistested this car. If I was the guy, he's got a great problem. He can go back to Hyundai and say, take the car back. Just take it back. Give me my goddamn money. And then he can go get another one.
So he has a right to do that.
Well, they gave him a car he can't use. There's an implied warranty at the very least that you're going to be able to have this car legally in California. And I would get Hyundai to get their lawyers on this because this is a problem for the factory. And the factory needs to get on this young guy's side and get his goddamn car out of hock.
So what does he do? Visit a lemon law lawyer?
He can get a lemon law lawyer. And if I was representing him, which I'm not inviting him.
We got you two cases.
I would be contacting the factory, the company, their public relations people and saying, you need to get a lawyer on this because this is going to hurt the factory sales. The notion that they're selling a car that you can't use. Why? If this car is not legal in California, how the fuck can they sell it?
But again, what's so annoying about this is it is legal. It was just the cops being a jerk and the referee made an error. You just turn it on in normal mode and it passes fine.
I want to meet that referee. The state referee calls the shots.
I love it.
Legal. Yes. I've never heard that phrase.
I don't know.
That's a great
crazy.
job.
What a crazy thing.
Yep.
Not as
They got
crazy.
smog referees. They got
as
sound
this.
referees.
Shorter. The shorter statute.
I'm going to play us out with this song right now.
Oh, you.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit.
That's something at the senior living
facility.
Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce. You'll get your honey.
Thanks for listening to Spike's Car Radio, brought to you by Hangar 56. Listen to new episodes every Wednesday, and be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Purchase new wiper blades from O'Reilly Auto Parts today and we'll install them for free. See better and drive safer with O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.